Repeat that.
ophthalmicedge.org.
Okay.
There's two sides.
Mm-hmm.
One's more for professionals about different things, and the part you might be interested in is the patient part.
Mm-hmm.
Then you click on that, and then there's many things here, helpful hints about doing different things, about AI devices related to this, accessibility tips for travelers, different devices that can help read to you, how to make hotels more accessible, these kinds of things. So there's many pages of these things.
Oh, great.
So you might
Yeah.
spend some time to read that.
I will. And one of the great things with Sam, this was about 4 years ago, you could join his channel, and now on the first Saturday of every month, we have Zoom sessions with people
good.
all over America, and it's not just Stargards, it's anybody.
Yeah.
And I'll share this with them.
Yeah, Ophthalmic Edge.
Yeah, I had not heard of that.
And there's many pages of different things to learn about, and you can click on different things and it opens up. This is just making adjustments here. And
Sure, I understand reading it.
There's there's like a dozen things on a page or so, and then there's 6 pages of that stuff just for under that one subheading.
Yeah.
So it'll keep you occupied for a little while.
Oh, well, I've got time.
We also work with the Lighthouse a lot.
Oh, you do?
I don't know if you ever went there.
Not here. So, lived in New York 6 years ago when my vision started going. I moved back to Minneapolis. Now I'm visiting, and I said, I want to come and see. I usually do an annual checkup.
Yeah.
Let's see, and I know you know the top of the field, so let's do it.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's something where you live similar to that with low vision assistance.
Yes, in fact, it's called the Low Vision Resource Center.
Yeah. So they're over time they've become more adept about recommending electronic aids and that sort of thing too. Do you have a reading machine?
No, I use. You familiar with these? Open that up. You ever seen these?
The Metaglasses, yeah.
Yes, they are. This has changed my life.
They're good?
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you might recall on the that's one of the first page that I showed you on the Ophthalmic Edge had Metaglasses for the masses.
I didn't. And one of the reasons I wanted to record is my eyes are dilated.
Yeah.
I already have bad vision. So when I call this up at home, I'll be able
You're
to see
expert in that, probably better than what we could tell you on a website. But there's even a web page about that, and there's a YouTube video. In fact,
Great. And
so, but you like them, huh?
yes, they just did a new upgrade, and yeah, especially like I remember. So I have my own website. I do a blog, and it was the title of the blog. Amazing, I can read. It was the first time I went in, pulled up a menu, and said, "What's on the menu?" And they said, "It's a variety of items." Well, what kind of burgers do they have? And they just start telling you everything. Now I'm having it read. I can look at my mail instead of having my wife read the mail. I can kind of scan and stuff. Also, ChatGPT has the advanced voice mode, which is even a little more robust because it's right in the camera.
Yeah.
In the phone, I should say. And it reads to me. Do you ever use the chat? Are you familiar with the? But are you familiar with the advanced voice mode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't use it too much, but I
Well, it's really helpful because now I can pick it up to read a book.
yes. I don't have as much need for that as you would.
Yeah.
And so you end up with these dead zones in the center part of your macula. And
Okay.
I don't know how well you can see that.
Well, that's kind of why I wanted to come in and do this, so I could see that. Now, this is right and left?
No, this is the back of your left eye.
Back of the left eye. Wow.
So
okay.
this is basically your macula,
Yeah.
and you can see this big black zone
Yeah.
in here is not functional.
Yeah. Well, what about over here?
That's the nerve.
Oh, that's the nerve,
Everybody
okay.
has that dark to a
I
certain
see.
extent. So there's a non-functional zone right in the middle where you're trying to look, and that's what's hard. And then so here's your other eye. You can see it's kind of symmetrical in its location and size.
When we were doing the eye tests, boy, my left was much worse than my right. But
Yeah.
that can vary, right?
But you can imagine this is about this big, and we can switch back over to your other eye.
Okay.
You can see it's about the same.
Yeah.
But some people, after a while, say if they can learn you're supposed to fixate here, but they can learn to fixate eccentrically, so they'll fixate somewhere else. And maybe you've learned to do that with your right eye and not so well with your left eye.
I see. Yeah, I tend to look down and to the right. Like now I don't see your face. Now I do see your face.
Yeah, so you learn to eccentrically fixate, and what's the place that's your brain a lot of times will pick the dominant eye, and then you'll pick the eccentric fixation to optimize that, and your other eye goes along for the ride. Because we can't make our eyes go like this, or like a gecko can, So the other eye goes along for the ride. So you
Okay,
pick
I didn't
your
know
dominant
that.
eye eccentric fixation here. But otherwise, I know it's kind of water under the bridge. You've made it pretty far in life and retained vision, at least some vision.
Yeah.
Now lately it's not been so good, but you've discovered a number of ways to overcome it. And there's many apps on the iPhone.
Yes.
Nobody, that would be a public service too, is to go through all the low vision apps on an iPhone.
Apple, there is I'm on a mailing list called Apple Viz. I don't think they're separate. They're not sponsored by Apple, but I mean, they keep track of everything. And so I do follow all of their apps. And Apple is actually very good. But again, through the blind life, somebody says, oh, here's the 800 number. If you ever have any problems, you can call to Apple support specifically for visible accessibility.
Yeah, there's one, I don't know how long you'll be in town for, but there is a Apple store on 14th Street and 9th Avenue. And the Genius Bar there, they're pretty adept at low vision.
Oh, okay.
So maybe that might be helpful for you too.
Yeah, good to know.
It's a nice area to walk around the meatpacking area.
Yeah, I just did the High Line 2 days ago.
So you're in that area.
Yeah, no, and in fact I do know that I didn't go to that Apple store. I know where you went. I went to the Whitney. So,
Okay. So there you go.
So, could you compare it to how long? You can see what I had done
5 years ago. Yeah,
from
sure.
5 years ago.
We will do that right now. Back then you were better.
Yeah, I'm just always kind of curious to see because I'll look from go 1 year to the next. I'm going, wow, my vision is really much poorer. But then when I look at this, it doesn't look any different. I was telling one of the testers that she says, how's your vision change? I says, well, last year when I was in New York, I could see the difference between the walk and the don't walk. Now I can't.
Most people ignore that in New York anyway. So.
Well, I know, but I mean, I want to be able to see it.
Yeah.
And people are going, oh, really? I says, well, mainly I know whether the traffic's going or not.
Yeah. So here's just by way of example, left eye, and you might recall that when we had it about this similar magnification, that the area of atrophy was about this big.
Oh, yeah. So
But
that's
see-
5 years ago, huh?
Yeah, you see, it's much smaller, and you have
Yes.
this little preservation of this area here, and that's what you had some fairly good central vision because of that.
Yep. Yeah, no, thank you for showing me that, because this is the nerve.
Yeah.
And yes, it was maybe 3 times as big as that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going to get that much bigger to now.
Yeah, I keep hoping that it's gonna,